Here, take this. My daughter-in-law, Jessica, shoved a dirty mop into my hands. She didn't look me in the eye. She was too busy checking her reflection in the hallway mirror, smoothing out her $500 silk dress. Since you decided to dress like that, she sneered, gesturing vaguely at my old gray cardigan and sensible shoes. You might as well make yourself useful. The caterers are running late, and the kitchen floor is a mess. Be a dear and handle it, will you? I stood there, gripping the cold handle of the mop. My knuckles turned white. Around me, the house was buzzing with activity. This was the housewarming party of the year. The mansion was breathtaking. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the city. Jessica turned to me one last time, her voice dropping to a harsh whisper. And Margaret, when the guests arrive, please stay in the kitchen. I have important people coming tonight. The CEO of Sterling Group is going to be here. I really don't need my mother-in-law looking like a beggar in the background. Do you understand? I looked at her. I looked at the mop, and then a slow, cold smile spread across my face. Of course, Jessica, I said softly. I understand perfectly. She turned on her heel and clicked away on her high heels, confident that she had put me in my place. Poor, naive Jessica. She didn't know the truth. She didn't know that the deed to this mansion didn't have her name on it. She didn't know that the Sterling Group CEO she was so desperate to impress used to be my personal assistant. And she certainly didn't know that tonight, her perfect little world was about to crumble. Let me back up a bit. My name is Margaret. To my son, David, and his wife, I am a retired librarian living on a meager pension. I live in a small, one-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. I take the bus. I use coupons at the grocery store. But that is not who I am. 30 years ago, my husband and I started a small construction company. When he passed away, everyone told me to sell. They said a woman couldn't survive in real estate development. I didn't listen. I worked 18-hour days. I turned that small company into a multi-million-dollar empire. I own skyscrapers downtown. I own shopping malls. I own the very land this luxury-gated community was built on. But I keep my wealth a secret. Why? Because money is a magnet for parasites. I wanted my son, David, to build his own character. I wanted him to find a wife who loved him, not his inheritance. When he met Jessica, I was worried. She was beautiful, yes. But she was obsessed with status. She talked about brands, VIP lists, and exclusive clubs. But David was in love. He said, "Mom, she pushes me to be better." So, I stayed silent. I played the role of the poor, simple mother. When they got married, Jessica barely tolerated me. She made it clear I didn't fit into her aesthetic. But things got worse when they wanted to buy a house. They found this mansion. It was listed for $2.5 million. David was heartbroken. He knew they couldn't afford it, but miraculously, a private trust stepped in and offered them a rent-to-own deal with incredibly low interest. Jessica thought it was her luck. She thought she was destined for this life. She never suspected that the private trust was me. I bought the house. I was their landlord. I wanted to give them a head start, anonymously. But tonight, seeing the way she looked at me with such disdain, I wondered if I had made a terrible mistake. The guests began to arrive at 7 p.m. Luxury cars lined the driveway, Porsches, Teslas, Mercedes. The air filled with the smell of expensive perfume and champagne. True to my word, I stayed in the kitchen. I wasn't just hiding, I was working. The caterers were indeed understaffed, so I started arranging hors d'oeuvres on silver platters. My son, David, came in looking flustered. He saw me washing glasses in the sink. "Mom?" He looked horrified. "What are you doing? You're a guest." "It's okay, David," I said calmly. "Jessica needs help. I don't mind." "This isn't right," he muttered, adjusting his tie. "I'll go talk to her." No, I stopped him. Don't cause a scene tonight. It's your big night. I'm fine. Really? He looked relieved. David is a good man, but he is weak. He hates confrontation, especially with Jessica. He kissed my cheek and went back out to the party. From the kitchen door, I watched. Jessica was in her element. She was laughing, tossing her hair, holding court in the center of the living room. She was telling a group of women, "Yes, we fell in love with the architecture immediately. It's hard to find quality like this, but we simply couldn't settle for less." I scoffed quietly. "You didn't settle, Jessica. I paid." Then disaster struck. One of the guests, a woman in a red sequined dress, accidentally knocked over a tray of shrimp cocktail. Cocktail sauce splattered onto the pristine, white marble floor. Jessica gasped. The room went silent. "Oh my God!" Jessica shrieked. She looked around frantically for a waiter, but they were busy. Then her eyes locked on me in the kitchen doorway. "Margaret!" she yelled across the room. "Margaret! Get the mop! Quickly!" The conversation stopped. 50 pairs of eyes turned to me. I felt the heat rise in my cheeks. She wasn't asking. She was commanding, like I was a servant. I walked out slowly. I didn't bring the mop. I brought a towel. I knelt down and started wiping the sauce. "Honestly," I heard Jessica whisper loudly to her friends, "it's so hard to find good help these days." That's actually David's mother, can you believe it? I try to help her out, give her something to do so she feels useful. "It's sad, really," the women giggled. "You're a saint, Jessica," one of them said. I froze, my hand stopped wiping. "A saint? You treat your husband's mother like a maid in front of strangers and you think you're a saint?" I stood up. I was done wiping floors. I was done hiding. Just as I stood up, the front doorbell rang. A hush fell over the room. This was the moment Jessica had been waiting for. "That must be him!" Jessica smoothed her dress, her face lighting up with a predatory smile. "Everyone, please act natural. Mr. Sterling is very particular." She rushed to the door. I stayed where I was, holding the dirty towel, standing in the middle of the living room. David tried to guide me away. "Mom, maybe you should go back to the—" "No, David," I said firmly. "I want to meet this Mr. Sterling." Jessica opened the door. Standing there was a tall man in his 40s, wearing a bespoke Italian suit. Behind him was his wife. "Mr. Sterling!" Jessica practically bowed. "Welcome. I am so honored you could make it. I'm Jessica, David's wife. We met briefly at the charity gala." Mr. Sterling smiled politely, but his eyes were scanning the room. "Thank you for the invitation, Jessica. Lovely home you have here." "Oh, thank you," Jessica beamed, guiding him in. "We've put so much love into it. Please, let me get you a drink. We have a 1995 vintage reserve." Mr. Sterling wasn't listening. He stopped walking. His eyes had drifted past Jessica, past the expensive furniture, and locked directly onto me. I stood there in my old gray cardigan, holding a dirty towel. Jessica noticed his gaze. She panicked. She quickly stepped in front of me, trying to block his view. "Oh, ignore her," Jessica laughed nervously. "That's just... she helps around the house. She's a bit senile. I was just about to send her to the kitchen." She turned to me, her voice sharp. "Margaret, go now." Mr. Sterling frowned. He looked at Jessica, then back at me. He pushed past Jessica gently, but firmly. The room went deadly silent. He walked straight up to me. Jessica's mouth fell open. David looked confused. Mr. Sterling stopped 2 feet in front of me. Then, to everyone's shock, he bowed his head in a gesture of deep, profound respect. "Madame Chairman," he said, his voice full of warmth, "I didn't know you would be here. It has been too long." You could hear a pin drop. Jessica let out a choked sound. "Madame? Chairman?" I handed the dirty towel to a passing waiter. I straightened my back. The posture of the tired old woman vanished. In its place stood the woman who had negotiated billion-dollar contracts for 3 decades. "Hello, Robert," I said smoothly. "It's good to see you. How is the acquisition going in Tokyo?" "Smoothly, thanks to your strategy," Robert Sterling replied. He turned to the room, looking confused. "Jessica, did you not know? Margaret isn't just my mentor. She is the founder of the Sterling Group. I'm just the CEO because she decided to retire from the daily operations. She still owns... well, she owns the majority of the company." Jessica turned pale. She looked like she was going to faint. She looked at me, then at Robert, then at David. "David," she whispered, "did you know?" David looked just as shocked. "Mom, you own Sterling Group?" "I own a lot of things, son," I said, my voice projecting across the silent room. I turned my gaze to Jessica. It wasn't a warm gaze. "I own the office building where you work, Jessica," I said calmly. "I own the bank that holds your car loans. And most importantly," I looked around the beautiful living room, "I own the trust that holds the deed to this house." Gasps erupted from the guests. Jessica was trembling. You bought this house?" Jessica stammered. "I did," I replied. "I wanted to give my son and his wife a beautiful start. I pretended to be poor because I wanted to see if you would treat me with kindness, even if you thought I had nothing to offer you." I took a step closer to her. "I have my answer. You made me clean your floors. You tried to hide me in the kitchen. You mocked me to your friends." "Mom, wait, I was just joking." Jessica tried to laugh, but it sounded hysterical. "It was just a misunderstanding. I was stressed. You know how much I love you." "Stop," I said. The word was soft, but it hit like a whip. "You don't love me. You don't even respect me. And honestly, you don't deserve this house." I turned to Robert. "Robert, I think I'm ready to leave. The air in here is a bit toxic." "Of course, Margaret," Robert said. "My driver is outside. Allow me to escort you." I looked at my son. David had his head in his hands. He finally looked up, and I saw clarity in his eyes. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking at his wife with a look of total disappointment. "Mom," David said, his voice steady. "I'll call you tomorrow. We have a lot to talk about. Alone." I nodded. "I'll be waiting, son." I walked out of that mansion, past the frozen guests, past the expensive cars. I didn't look back at Jessica. I didn't need to. I knew she was standing there in the ruins of her own ego. The next day, I received a dozen missed calls from Jessica. I didn't answer. David came over that evening. He told me he asked Jessica for a separation. He said he couldn't be with someone who treated people that way. Not just me, but anyone. As for the house, I revoked the rent-to-own agreement. I sold it and donated the proceeds to a charity that helps homeless women get back on their feet. Jessica lost the house. She lost the husband. And she lost the chance to be part of the family she so desperately wanted to impress. It's funny. She spent her whole life trying to look rich, but she was poor in the only currency that matters, kindness. Don't be like Jessica. Treat the janitor with the same respect as the CEO, because you never know. They might be the same person. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.